Hi, what I'm talking about this week is healing heartbreak. I've recently worked with a client. It'd taken 5 years and was still traumatized from what his wife did. And it takes time and it's tough, especially betrayal. But losing someone you love through a relationship finishing it's another form of grief. It's a loss. So there is a whole grieving process that you've got to go through, but very often you see the other person, especially if it's been their decision, moving on with their life, seemingly happily skipping off into the sunset, whilst you're left in bits in their wake. And that can be tough. That can be one of the worst experiences you've ever had. Speaking personally, that's happened to me, and the betrayal has happened to me. So I am talking from experience, and that experience 3 years ago brought me many clients, and is still bringing clients because they watched me get back up. They watched me piece my life back together again and start a new business and turn my life around. So that in itself was a source of inspiration for them. And we all need that. We all need to know that you can come out the other side. I did go through a phase where I turned into a bit of a warrior. And I think you have to do that initially. It's a bit like sort of fake it till you make it. You've got to hold yourself strong. You stay angry at the beginning. Resentment is eating you up. And that keeps you going. That's the adrenaline and fuel that you live on, but it's not sustainable. In fact, if anything, it's exhausting and it will break you. That is certainly the first phase. Anger, resentment. But really, the best advice I can give to anyone is to use that anger by purging. Because if you keep the anger and you keep the thoughts inside your head, you won't sleep. You'll continue to hurt. You'll get weaker by the day. You'll get more and more tired, and you'll get more and more vulnerable. So unlike a common belief, anger and fighting isn't actually strength. Not in an emotional way, but purging is. Purging is a fantastic way to get rid of that anger. And I would always say to people, purge through a keyboard. Write down every single thing that you can think of that you want to say to that person. All the things they've done to hurt you, all the things that they have caused you to feel, all the how could you things that are going on in your head. Resentment and fury at having had your future taken away. Because effectively that's what's happened. You've been with this person, you've got a future mapped out together. And when they go, so does that future. And that's why it feels like the rug's been pulled out and someone's just rocked your world and thrown you out in the trash. So then the next thing to do after that is to start to visualize a new future. A future which is about you and about the people you know you can rely on. One of the most common mistakes is to visualize a future with somebody else. And sometimes that somebody else can be the man that's putting the shed up, and people make really crazy choices. It's called rebound. But that's a really big mistake. The first thing that you need to do when you come out the other side is heal, and heal again. 6 months minimum, if not longer, before you start to look at any other relationship. Because you have to reconnect with yourself. When you've been part of a couple, you're like that. And when one part of that couple leaves, you're left like that. You're left open with gaps. And people want to fill that gap. But you need to fill that gap with you. Because within every relationship, we give a part of ourselves away. That's the nature of it. You become part of another whole. So you have to heal. And the best way to do that is to visualize a future where it's not just you and him or you and her, where it's you doing what you want to do with the people you know you can rely on, friends, family. The other thing is learning to have conversations. Very often we miss the person that we talk to. You know, when we're ruminating on something, or we're thinking something through, or we want someone else's input. I will often say to clients, especially after they've been to me for IEMT and therapy, they will be the strongest version of themselves at that point. And very often I will say, now you are more than capable of making those decisions. You don't need to ask somebody else's opinion. What you need to do is to learn to have a conversation with yourself. And one of the ways you can do that is to write it down. Write down whatever it is you're ruminating about. And don't leave that piece of paper until you come up with a solution, or at least one step towards a solution. The next thing, of course, is self-care, self-love. I've gone on and on about that before. Looking after yourself, making sure you're sleeping right, you're eating right, you're drinking right, all of your thinking right. And if you're having trouble with the thinking, you know where I am. Look at what brings you joy. What can you do creatively that will feed your soul? How can you learn to spend time with yourself? You can choose to have quality alone time or feel lonely. You only feel lonely if you're not comfortable with yourself. So self-love is crucial. Gratitude for what you have in your life, for the people around you who love you. Gratitude for the ability to give to people and enrich other people's life. And in doing all of this, you will learn to fall in love with yourself. And falling in love with yourself is absolutely the most important thing you need to do before you bring anybody else into your life. Because then you know you will be bringing something of true value to the next relationship. So if you're having trouble with any of that, and you're finding yourself stuck, traumatized, not being able to sleep, you know where I am. 3 sessions, 2 weeks, 1 brave message. Bye for now.